We have a story all too unique in the modern era of a person who realizes that they're wrong about something and changes their mind. It's wild stuff, and we're gonna break it down. It involves a Republican in an area where we often talk about people like this. It's about school boards in Texas, no less. And you have kind of like a radical Republican who gets fired up from stuff online about how they're grooming kids and they're trying to make the kids into radicals and DEI and CRT and all that. And this is Courtney Gore. She bought into all that stuff, by the way. She was even herself the co-host of a far-right online talk show. So this isn't even just a regular person. This is a person whose sort of job is spreading these messages of how the left is radicalizing people and everything. So she had promised that she would be a strong Republican voice on the nonpartisan school board that she ran for and won a seat on. She cited small town conservative Christian values, and she pledged, apologies. She pledged to inspect educational materials for inappropriate messages about sexuality and race and remove them from every campus, okay? And here's what she said at the time. Over the years, our American education system has been hijacked by leftists looking to indoctrinate our kids into the progressive way of thinking. And yes, they have tried to do this in Granbury ISD. I cannot sit by and watch their twisted worldview infiltrate Granbury ISD. And I do have to say, as one of the tools of this progressive propaganda, I really thought we were getting away with something good in Granbury ISD. And I thought we'd be able to finish the job, but they caught us.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the Damage Report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you.
Look, I wanna go a little bit easy on her because she proved, like few people can, that she is actually willing to learn from reality and have that be reflected in her worldview. And so as soon as she got the seat, she started looking through all this material. She said she was gonna do it, she actually did it. And here was the problem. They weren't actually propagandizing to the kids. They weren't teaching them CRT. They weren't trying to trans them or whatever Charlie Kirk might have told you. That's not an actual thing. And so according to ProPublica, who spoke with her, the pervasive indoctrination she had railed against simply did not exist. Children were not being sexualized. She could find no examples of critical race theory, an advanced academic concept that examines systemic racism. She'd examined curriculum related to social emotional learning. That was another thing that they sort of focused on the right and then forgot about. So that had come under attack by Christian conservatives who say it encourages children to question gender roles and prioritizes feelings over biblical teachings. It's a school after all, but instead Gore found that the materials taught children, quote, how to be a good friend, a good human, because that's what it does. That is what it does. But she read the material and she realized that. So she was apparently excited, naive in the way that normally only I am about something like this. And she wanted to tell the other conservatives that they're not actually doing this. Isn't that good news? Your kids aren't at risk. And they were not happy about this at all. She said they were indifferent, even dismissive, because it didn't fit the narrative that they were trying to push. So in the spring of 2022, Gore went public with a series of Facebook posts. She told residents that her backers were using divisive rhetoric to manipulate the community's emotions. They were interested not in improving public education, but in sowing distrust, which is totally right. Now, because of that, she faced backlash from the same people who had tried to get her in there in the first place, not realizing that they got her in there not to find the indoctrination because it wasn't there, but to just say that it's there, to help with the narrative because the narrative is good. It raises money, it makes careers, and it wins elections. It has nothing to do with the kids, it never did. It was useful for that. And as a result of that, there were school board meetings that were super raucous. Now in Texas, school board meetings are always raucous, but generally it's people like the first version of Courtney Gore. In this case, she's being protested and shunned because she revealed to them that it wasn't actually happening. She and other fellow board members actually had to be escorted to their cars by school marshals because of the fear that something could get violent, okay? And she said in the end, I'm over the political agenda, hypocrisy, BS. I took part in it myself. I refuse to participate in it any longer. It's not serving our party. We have to do better. Well, she actually was doing better. And I'm very impressed. Like, sarcasm aside, there are not a lot of people that would do something like that. Have a career that rests on spreading a narrative, going in, actually caring to do the research, and then changing your mind and sticking with the truth, even though it loses you friends and maybe loses you your seat, loses your career, or even makes you face violent threats. There was a guy that showed up armed to the school board meeting, as you do. and accused board members of allowing pornography to school libraries and threatened them saying, quote, "We have profile sheets. We know what you do. We know where you live." Proving that at least in that one instance, there was actually a threat to kids. It was this deranged guy with a gun making violent threats. It wasn't fantastical pornography that doesn't exist. Credit to Courtney Grove in this particular case. I wish there were more people like her willing to actually question themselves. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?